This weekend project, I'm going to go down to Walmart. I'm going to pick up a storage bin. I'm going to start with some free pallet boards that I picked up from a construction site. The way to remove these boards is super simple. I'm going to cut down the sides first. That way it doesn't break up the boards by trying to remove all the nails. Once I get both sides cut, I'm going to wiggle it around to loosen it from the center support. Using a crowbar, or what we call a wonder bar, I'm going to go up and down and remove these boards. Once I do that, I can turn them upside down to remove the nails. Pop them on one side, use the claw on the claw hammer, and take them out on the other side. Once I do that, I'm going to measure the width of the storage bin, the height, and then I'm also going to measure the depth. Once I get that, I'm going to start with the sides. I'm going to measure this 1x3 at 32 inches, and I'm going to give it a cut. I'm actually going to need 2 of these for one side and 2 for the other. Once I get these cut, then I can go ahead and start cutting the pallet boards. This is going to be 15 inches for the depth, and I'm going to cut multiple pieces of this. I like the bare look of the pallet boards, also the rustic look. Once I get all these cut to 15 inches, I'm going to separate them all the way up and down on the support boards. Remember, I'm doing one side at a time, and then I'm going to space the boards and make them look even. Using my nail gun, I'm going to go up and down and put a couple of brad nails in. Now the sides I'm going to hold together and put a few boards in the back. I put the sides next to the storage bin so I got the perfect width. Once I get these brad nailed in, then it's time to work on the top. These are going to be the larger, wider boards. I only need 3 of them. Once I get those brad nailed on both sides and secured, I'm then going to have to put the middle and the end boards in. This will help me space them out correctly. Again, using that brad nail, I love it. I can secure all the sides while it's spaced out, and it's actually getting really strong as I'm putting it together. Again, this is just separated around. Now I need a bottom board also, and that's going to make it even stronger. I also need a shelf that I'm going to build in order to put the storage in. I took the drawers out, slid it in, make sure it fits just right, and put the drawers back in. They actually slide really nice. Now I'm going to put some trim pieces on the side to cover up some of the edges, and then I'm going to give it one more test to make sure those drawers close good. Once I get that done, it's time to bring it inside and look at it. All decorated. It's the perfect height to fit under the window. I love it. It stores our blankets in the living room, little decor on top, and I love the rustic look of it. I got the nail holes to show and some of the stamps that come on the side of the pallets. It actually turned out really great, and I hope it inspired you to go ahead and grab that storage bin from Walmart and make it your own and build a nice frame for it.
Grab some cork placemats. I want to paint the back sides of the placemats white. I'm going to be decoupaging over this side, so I need a nice, clean and bright surface for under the napkins. Now that the paint is dry, it's time to start working with the napkins. With the napkin layers apart, so I'm going to give each napkin a little bit of a softer look. I can use a fine paintbrush and water to do this. Now that my napkins are ready, it's time to start attaching them to the cork placemat. I'm using a transfer and decoupage gel. Now that the decoupage medium is dry, I can start to remove the excess pieces of napkins. The final thing I need to do is brush a layer of the decoupage medium over the entire surface.
Grab one of these 3-drawer bins from Walmart. I picked up some half-round pieces of wood, and I need to cut them down to roughly 4.5 inches each. Now it's time to attach them to the drawers. So I'm just gonna put a dab of glue on each piece of wood and put them all the way across the drawer. Now that everything's dry, I'm gonna take this outside and add a coat of spray paint.
Grab some collapsible storage cubes from Walmart and some paint stir sticks. Measure the width of your storage cube. Using a utility knife, score the measurement line. Make these cuts on all of your paint sticks. Sand the cut ends of the sticks so there are no rough edges. Wipe some wood stain on the top and sides of each paint stick. Let them dry completely. Lay the paint sticks on the side of an open storage cube. Start to glue each stir stick to the storage cube panel with a hot glue gun. Next time you are at Walmart, grab a large plastic bowl or pasta bowl and a cereal bowl. Flip the large bowl over and apply a ring of clear adhesive glue around the perimeter of the bowl bottom to secure the 2 bowls together. Take some decorative rope and hot glue it around the center where the 2 bowls meet. Fill this bowl with water and add some floating candles. Time to break out of jail. That is, the Walmart ball jail. You also need some green reindeer moss. Start by spray painting the Walmart ball with moss green spray paint. Separate the large pieces and stretch out any chunks that are thick. With a can of general spray adhesive, spritz a small portion of the ball with the adhesive. Take a small patch of green moss and press it onto the ball in the sticky area. Press and hold for a few seconds to make sure it sticks. Continue to spray the ball and attach the green moss to the outside. Once you cover the entire ball with spray adhesive and moss, give the entire moss-covered ball an overall coat of the spray adhesive.
Head on over to your local Walmart and grab their $7 mirror. Place the mirror directly in the center of the table just as you would a regular table runner. Clean off the mirror with some glass cleaner to remove any fingerprints or smudges. Then start styling your table.
You want to pick up 2 bowls. Make sure they are ceramic or glass and that they are heat proof. I took them home and I'm going to give them a coat of spray paint. Once the paint is dry, these bowls have a really nice textured look. I'm just going to use some really strong glue to adhere them together. In the top bowl, I am going to add 3 wicks. I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue to secure them to the bottom. Then I'm going to grab 2 wooden skewers and wrap the wick around the skewers. This is just going to hold everything in place. Great way to make your own candles is to reuse existing candle wax. I have a couple of these Dollar Tree tall pillar candles, and I'm going to place them in some boiling water. Now make sure you're wearing gloves. These can get really hot, and I'm just going to gently boil this until all the wax is melted. Pour the wax from all the candles into a metal container with a handle. I'm opting to add a little essential oil for some scent, and now we're just going to pour that melted wax. Then you're going to want to walk away for about 24 hours. When it is completely set, you can trim the wicks down and use your candle.
Take a fabric placemat and flip it over. Using the storage cube insert, trace around the insert on the placemat. Once traced, cut the fabric square from the placemat. With a hot glue gun, glue the placemat square to the side of the open storage cube. Take some favorite yarn and make a pom-pom with a pom-pom maker. Using a large needle or upholstery needle, thread one tail of the pom-pom and insert it through the upper center of the glued placemat through the storage cube, and knot the 2 tails together on the inside of the storage cube.
Let's run on down to Walmart, and it's time to grab your favorite inexpensive bucket. We got to get those handles off. Next, we're going to take that bucket and flip it over. We need to set in 2 strips of wood that are going to fit right on the edge. Next, stick them on there, make sure they fit. Then you can use some hot glue. Just flip it over and press it against the plastic. So do that to both pieces right on the edge and just hold it down till it sets. Next, flip the bucket over, and what you're going to do is grab just some small little screws. So just take your drill and put it right in. 2 or 3 in each strip of wood will be just right, and that's going to hold it in place. Now it's time to put on the wheels, and we're going to mark it 1 inch from each side of the wood. We're going to put 4 of these legs on, and we're going to drill it. Now it's time to take that hot glue, put it right on the edge of the hole there, and put the leg on. Look at this. They are excellent. Now it's time to go ahead and decorate the bucket. Just take again our favorite hot glue, put it right on the edge, just stick it right on there. Just go ahead and set it all the way around, and we're going to go around the whole bucket. Once you get that on, it's time to take a little bit of your inexpensive fabric, cut about 12 inches wide. We're going to use that hot glue again, and we're going to fold over the edge. What we're going to do is fold it over the bucket. It's going to cover all that plastic. Get that glue right on that last bit of rope right there. We're going to take this all the way around the bucket. Today's project is going to require some clothespins and a small bucket. The clothespins are easy to take apart. All we have to do is use some hot glue. We're going to do that with multiple amounts all the way around. Now on the bottom, I'll grab some rope from Dollar Tree, put a little bit of hot glue, push it in place. Just keep going all the way around. Now it comes time for staying. Next, we need a wood or plastic hanger. I took a square, put it against the inside edge, and marked 90 degrees. We're actually going to cut on this line. Once we do that, turn your bucket over, and then we're going to hot glue our legs on. If we do 4 of these across from each other, it makes it nice and steady and stable. Put one of those last bits of rope that I have on there, bring it around to the front, and I'm going to tie a knot on it.
Let's create an anthropology dupe. So I'm going to grab a couple different styles of this pretty paper and I'm going to cut it into 4-inch squares. Now I'm going to paint a thin coat of Mod Podge onto a white ceramic tile. Now I'm going to press these two together, seal them in really good, get any bubbles out. Now I'm going to come back and add a top coat of Mod Podge. I'm going to repeat this with about 35 tiles. I cut a piece of plywood to size and I'm going to paint the top using a white chalk paint. Now I'm going to place a full-length mirror right in the middle. Now to attach the mirror to the wood, I'm using Gorilla Glue. Once I've got the mirror down, I'm adding this board and some weight, and I'm going to let this set for 24 hours. Now I'm going to dry fit the tiles into a pattern around the mirror. For the corners, where I have a little bit of a smaller space, I'm actually just going to use a square of paper. So the first thing I'm doing is adding a little bit of water to the wood with a paintbrush. Now for the tiles, I'm using Gorilla Glue again, and then the two are pressed together. And I'm going to let the whole thing set for 24 hours. Grab a plastic bin from Walmart for this project. I'm going to start by drilling a few holes into the side of the bin. This is going to be for handles down the road. Then I'm going to flip the bin over and I'm going to drill 4 holes, one in each corner of the plastic bin. I want to dress this bin up, so I picked up some gray and white patterned fabric. And I've cut it down to size so that it is the right height of the bin. Now I'm going to use some spray adhesive to adhere the fabric to the plastic. When I get to the corners, I am going to cut up the side, and then I can just fold these two pieces over each other, creating a really nice looking seam. To add the handles, I'm going to locate the hole that I drilled with my finger and then just poke through the fabric with a pair of scissors. Now I can thread the jute through and tie a knot on the inside to secure it in place. Now I'm going to add some feet to the bottom to raise this up off the ground and just make it look a little nicer.
Grab some hot glue and put a bead of glue along one side of your lampshade, and then add some twine or jute. And we're going to wrap that around the lampshade until we cover the entire thing. After you have all your tassels made, we are going to add these to the bottom of our lampshade. And I decided to hot glue these. You could use a needle and thread and tie them and sew them on the edge, but this worked out perfect. You are going to simply trim off the excess tails.
I took these floral decals and placed them along the side of the door frame. I cut the decal and repositioned it. I continued up along the door frame, making sure to wrap the flowers. I added a few leaf decals sparingly.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 3 glass carafes. Take twine and wrap, tie, and secure around the glass, and clip parts of the plant off. Add water to the glass bottles and then add clippings to the water. Hang a curtain rod and add more twine or rope from the rod.
I'm gonna go right down the center and just cut them in half so that I have that flat edge to go flush against the board.
Space the noodles out with a little bit of spacing in between, and then attach them also with the staple gun for some added stability. I worked in sections of about 4 at a time, sprayed a little bit of spray adhesive on, and then just kind of used my hands to firmly work the leather into the channels. I trimmed the edge at the corner and then just tucked it over and secured it tightly with a little bit of spray adhesive and then also more of the staple. Once that corner was secure, I just worked my way down.
I printed a deer design from my computer and traced it on a clear Ziploc bag. I cut a square hole in the cardboard box using a utility knife. Next, I taped the Ziploc bag design over the hole. Then, I placed the box in front of the wall. I turned my cell phone light on. I put it inside of the box at the opposite end as the design, and I closed the lid. Put covers over the windows. I traced the design on the wall using a pencil. Once I was done, I turned the lights back on and was ready to paint. I was careful to work from top down and left to right so I didn't smudge the wet paint. When it was completely dry, I removed the remaining pencil marks with an eraser and damp rag.
I fell in love with this beautiful floral fabric. We measured the wall to make sure we purchased enough. We knew we needed 3 panels, so we had them cut accordingly. We started in the corner and used a staple gun to secure the fabric in place. After that, we used spray adhesive to ensure the fabric was well secured. Before drying starts, gently smooth out all air bubbles. Don't forget to overlap about 1 inch with each panel for a smooth transition, and line up your patterns as best you can. Once all panels are hung, smooth and staple along the bottom about 1/4 of an inch above your baseboard. Using an X-Acto knife, cut fabric starting in the top corner going down. This will help to make sure the fabric does not stretch or tear. Place your knife between the baseboard and a credit card to help you make the perfect straight line. Gently cut around any outlets.
I think you'll be amazed at what you can create using discarded furniture. I took some bamboo sticks, which I had purchased from Amazon, and I measured the length of the front of the drawer. I cut the bamboo sticks to this length, decided that I was going to remove and discard the top drawer. I removed the old doorknobs from the remaining drawers, and then I sanded them down lightly. I spaced out my bamboo sticks, and then I applied them, simply using liquid nails. I took the drawers and the cabinets outside, and I spray painted them. While I was outside, I also cut a thin piece of plywood so that it would replace where that top drawer was that I had removed. I simply slid this into place and continued painting the entire nightstand. I added new pulls, which I had purchased online as well.
Do you have one of those dorm-style door mirrors? Let's give it an update. Tape off the mirror with paper and spray paint the wood frame. Remove any spray paint from the mirror that might have gotten onto the glass, and then clean with some glass cleaner. Measure and cut some rattan webbing. Spray one side of each rattan piece with spray adhesive. Place and press the rattan pieces onto each end of the glass on the mirror, and place some heavy books on top for a couple of hours.
Some cardboard, trace out a hexagon. Then what I did was use the sharp knife to cut out the cardboard. Next, I grabbed an old foam pad I had and also used the exact same template and cut it out. I used some regular old wood glue, put it down on the cardboard, and then glued the foam to it. We're gonna lay the fabric out, and what you'll do is turn it around and just grab a stapler, and it holds it in place just like that. But what you get on the other side is you get your hexagon covered in fabric. I took all the hexagons and on the back and used a paint stick and stapled through them to hold them together.
Start by placing the tube into the sock. Put rice into the sock through the tube. Add a rubber band to the end to keep it closed. Place the sock into the microwave and warm it up for about 1 minute. Pull the sock out and place it inside your bed. This will warm up your sheets in your bed for when you crawl inside. If you have cold air leaking in through your doors, grab an old towel, fold it in half, and then roll it up. Grab 2 rubber bands and put them on either end to hold it closed. Place it in front of your door to stop that cold air from sneaking in. Grab some tape from the dollar store and use it to seal your windows. Place the tape on the top, the bottom, and the sides of the window to seal any leaking air in. You can also insulate windows by using some bubble wrap. Start by spraying some water onto the window and then add the bubble wrap. This will help keep your windows insulated and your house warmer during the winter time. Grab 2 terracotta pots. Start with the trivet. Place your tea light onto the trivet. Place the apple peeler upside down onto the trivet. Place the small terracotta pot, then place the large terracotta pot over the small terracotta pot. Place somewhere to keep you nice and warm. Grab some vegetable oil and a paper towel. Put the vegetable oil on the paper towel and rub it onto your shovel. The vegetable oil will stop the snow from sticking to the shovel, making it nice and easy for removal.
Place sponges in the bottom of your refrigerator baskets to keep your fruits and vegetables fresh and help them last longer. The sponges will soak up any unwanted water or other moisture. Wrap a sponge in 2 different places around the handle and hold it in place with a rubber band. Place your hands on the sponges and begin shoveling, raking, or sweeping. It'll protect your hands from getting blisters.
Grab some shaving cream from the dollar store. Sometimes odors sneak out from the bottom of our toilets. Take the shaving cream and spray it all along the crease of your toilet. With your rubber glove, spread it on so it covers and seals that whole opening. Let it set for approximately 10 minutes. You've now eliminated odors that were hiding underneath of your toilet between the seal and the toilet tank. Grab some Fabuloso from the dollar store. With a sharp object, poke a couple holes into the item. Place the cleaner inside the tank. A little bit of the Fabuloso will be released and will help clean your toilet. Grab a spray bottle. Fill the spray bottle with 3/4 water. Take a capful of Downy and place it into the spray bottle. Replace the lid, give it a little shake, and you've created a wonderful air freshener that you can use anywhere in your home. Grab a small bowl, place a little bit of vanilla extract into the bowl. Also add a little bit of water. Place the bowl onto a baking sheet and place the baking sheet in an oven. Close the oven door and turn the oven on approximately 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. This will help your house smelling fresh as the vanilla extract aroma fills your home.
We're gonna go to the grout on the floor. Oh, it gets so dirty. All you have to do is take some toilet bowl cleaner, especially the gel formula. Go ahead and place it on the grout and let it sit there for about 5 minutes. Go ahead and grab you one of those old toothbrushes and you're gonna give it a good scrubbing and you're gonna start seeing the color change. Grab a sponge, wipe it all up, and look at the difference. It restored that grout to its original color. How about a shower head that doesn't work correctly or has rust stains on it? What you have is mineral deposits inside the shower head. Just take a baggie, pour some vinegar in there. Take that bag, place it over your shower head, secure it with a clip or a rubber band, and you're gonna let it sit overnight. As you can see on the next day, a lot of that mineral deposits came through and is sitting in the bag. Remove the bag, go ahead and take a sponge, wipe it all off. It gets rid of the rust stains, and look at that. That shower head works perfectly.
So here's the big secret. Every pool noodle has a hole in it. So I'm gonna stick the pool noodle onto the faucet like this. Next, I take the other end of the pool noodle and I hold it down so that it aims in the center of the bucket. I turn the water on slowly and I just wait to fill the bucket to the level I want. Now, how easy is this? Now I'm ready to get mopping. Now, a lot of people have trouble with drafts coming in under doors. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a pool noodle and I'm gonna measure my door. What I picked up was a pillowcase from the dollar store. I'm gonna take this pool noodle, stick it inside. I'm gonna lay it back down on the table so it's nice and flat. I'm gonna go ahead and just wind it. So I'm gonna put a little dab of hot glue here, and then I'm just gonna run this along the edge. So this end is open because this is the top of the pillowcase. So all I'm gonna do is stick the pillowcase into the hole. Velcro adhesive. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel off the adhesive and I'm gonna place it. Now I have peeled the backing off and I'm going to stick it to door. Here it is on the door. And I can still open and close the door with ease. So what I've got here is a pool noodle from an old project that's already cut. And then what I need to do from here is just take a pen or a pencil or marker and just kind of mark where this spot is. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a slit into about half of the pool noodle. Next, I'm gonna flip the noodle over and I've got these great little picture holder strips and you're gonna wanna put it on the back side of where each of these are. So I start by peeling the backing off. And now I stick and press it on the wall and I need to wait 30 seconds at minimum. I just open the pool noodle like so and I stick my broom handle inside. Here they are all hung up and I'm just absolutely thrilled with how easy this was and how it turned out.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 4 small wood crates, 2 small floating shelves. Take the white paint for all 4 crates. Assemble 2 crates together with hot glue and then attach to the second shelf upside down with more hot glue. Take fairy lights and weave it through the holes of the wood crates. Attach the second level of the combined wood crates and do the same thing with the fairy lights. To cover up the seams, take rhinestone ribbon and glue into place. Take craft mirror tiles, cut them to size, hot glue into place, and then remove the protective cover.
Next time you're at Dollar Tree, scoop up some of the white wire baskets and grab yourself a paper towel holder. Then I'm going to take the paper towel holder and place it on the bottom and then cut out the wire basket just in the middle. You're going to slide it over top and then you're going to secure it in place with some zip ties at the bottom. You're next going to take your second wire basket and cut out the middle. You're going to place it on your paper towel holder and then you're going to place some zip ties around the paper towel holder to give it a little bit of a ledge to sit on. Then you're going to come in with some E6000 and then you can spray paint it your favorite color.
Head to your local Dollar Tree. Start by hot gluing the paper towel holder in the center of one pan. Hot glue rope starting from the outer edge and work your way in. And work your way up the center of the paper towel holder until reaching the top. Take twine and baskets and wrap, tie, and secure them on either side of the paper towel holder center. Take the second round pan and pour marbles into it. Place the top pan and the baskets on top. I'm taking 3 hexagon decorative mirrors and 4 small glass candlesticks from Dollar Tree. Stack 2 candlesticks on top of one another. When the glue has dried, I'm taking some black acrylic craft paint, apply the paint all over each candlestick column. Once that column is attached to the base mirror, I'm adding glue to the top of the column before stacking another mirror on top of it in the center. While I'm taking my second candlestick column and my third mirror, I'm flipping the mirror face down and applying the glue to the column before placing it on the center of the back of the mirror. It's time to stack the third mirror onto the other 2.
You'll need 4 of these chrome napkin holders, a paper towel holder, a set of these plastic chopping boards. First thing is to trace the napkin holder onto the chopping board 4 times and then cut out the half circles. I'm attaching those pieces of the plastic chopping board to the side of the napkin holder. I'm going to take these napkin holders and glue them to the bottom of the paper towel holder. Attach 2 more toward the top of the paper towel holder. Once the glue is all dry, for a little added security, I'm going to use some zip ties.
I'm using 1 large piece of foam core from Dollar Tree and 2 sheets of peel and stick wallpaper. Next, I'm going to use a squeegee to apply directly to the foam core board. I'm using 2 gold paper trays from Dollar Tree and my 2 wallpaper covered sheets of foam core to glue to the bottom of each tray. I'm applying the rub and buff all over the wood pieces. I'm allowing plenty of time for the gold to dry before taking my hot glue gun and gluing the cubes on either side of the wood dowels. Now it's time to assemble this whole project together. Take a clear adhesive hook from Dollar Tree and a paper towel holder. Add toilet paper rolls and you have easy and inexpensive toilet paper storage. Place scrunchies and hair ties over the top and you have an easy and cheap storage solution. Loop the zip ties around the paper towel stand, evenly spaced and secure in place. Take scissors and cut off the excess of the zip tie. Use a mini hot glue gun to add little dots of hot glue to make sure the zip ties stay in place. Cover the entire stand with gold spray paint.
We're going to start with a baking pan and we're going to fill it with a bunch of marbles. I need to remove the back off the glue dots and then peel off the backing. And I'm going to place it onto the bottom of the baking sheet. I'm going to flip them back over. As you can see here, this swivels really nicely. I'm going to take a cooling rack. I'm going to bend up either side. Now I'm going to tip those cooling racks up and I'm going to tie the top of the cooling racks together as well as the bottom. I'm going to place the glue dots onto the baking sheet. Take those cooling racks and I'm going to stick them onto the glue dots. And I'm going to press firmly to make sure they adhere well.
To start this project, we're going to need 3 of these cute little craft storage bins. I'm going to use a pencil and we're going to line it up, let that bond for a second. So we're going to secure the other side with the glue and then we're going to go back in with our staple gun to make sure it's reinforced. So now that that's been reinforced, we're essentially going to do the same thing with another one. We're going to do the same thing for the third one. It's just going to sit up a little bit higher. All right, so now that this has been secured, what we're going to do is we're going to use some stain.
Go to the dollar store and get 8 of these mini trays. You're also going to need 4 of these little mini crates and start painting these. Glue one of these sides that has one of the holes, glue it to the back end of one of these pieces, and now we're going to go and create a U shape and we're going to go and press this together. Construct the next one, glue everything together, wait for that to dry. After those are connected, put some glue onto the top, and now we're going to go and put these little tiny mini crates that have the slats on the sides and let everything dry. And now we can go and put this into our kitchen and figure out where we're going to put everything.
So we're going to start with 12 of these really cute little crates from Dollar Tree. First, going to glue them together. So we are going to be using some wood stain. We are going to stain this as well. So we're going to put this into a formation. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and we are going to put it on the center of our Lazy Susan. So we're going to go ahead and load this up. So we're gonna start this project with these really handy stackable organizer drawers. So I'm gonna be using a combination of E6000 and hot glue. So I'm gonna go ahead and stack this on top. Then we're gonna do the same thing on this top one. Set this aside to dry. We are going to focus on gluing these pieces together. And we're gonna put it together here. Make sure it is level this direction. So we're gonna go ahead and add to it.
I wanted to take a little side note to share that I was able to paint my mirrors because they originally were gold.
So I'm gonna go ahead and use hot glue on the back here, and we are going to be centering it on top. We're actually gonna be gluing these same mirrors to the sides where the drawers aren't pulling out. So now we're gonna take 2 cake pans, marbles as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this on top, and then we are going to put a layer of E6000, and then we're gonna be setting our organizer on top of that. Adhere it, wait for that to dry. So now we're gonna flip it over. And we have a Lazy Susan situation happening, but we're gonna add one more piece to the top of this.
Head over to the dollar store and grab one of these plastic trays. Now we're going to go and open up our little picture frames. Now we can take everything outside to spray paint it. As that first layer dries, we can go and use some of this looking glass spray paint. Now we can put some glue onto the sides of these pans, stick them together. Now we're going to take 5 different dots of this glue, put it on the corners, one in the center, and we can start to go and put some things onto it. Let's head back over to the dollar store and grab some of this chalkboard paint, one of those paper towel holders. You're going to also need a plastic tray. We can go and flip over our plate. Now we're going to take some glue and put it on the back and stick our paper towel holder onto here. After it has dried, we can take this outside. I'm going to be using some of this looking glass spray again. I'm taking chalkboard paint, and this is going to give it a lot of texture when I go over this with the second layer.
You know all those lonely donated lampshades? Pick up a matching pair. Pick up a thrifted belt. Run a bead of clear glue around the perimeter. Take the other lampshade, place it on top of the other lampshade, take some jute twine and tie the inner hardware of the 2 lamps together. Give the connected shades a little shake to make sure they are securely connected. Take the belt and buckle it around the skinny center of the 2 lampshades. Add a little glue to the loose end of the belt and secure it to the rest of the belt. Find a thin wood circle disc. Paint the edge with some acrylic paint. And peel and stick wallpaper is perfect for this project.
First, you need to wet your lampshade thoroughly with some water. We mix together 2 cups of water, 4 drops of dishwashing soap, and 4 cups of cement. I then painted this mixture on the wet lampshade and let it dry completely. Now it's time to make a cement base for the pot. After letting the cement fully dry and cure, we then used a drill to drill in the drainage hole. I added some potting soil.
You'll never believe what you can make from an old lamp and a glass shade from the thrift store. It's time to paint the lamp now. Is cover it with a coat of water-based clear coat. I want to attach it to the lamp base, so I'm going to use some contact cement to do that. It's time to pop it onto the rest of the lamp base. I want to fill the glass shade now completely with soil. My new planter is ready for some plants. I found this lamp not too long ago at the thrift store. Before applying the paint, I'm going to give the base a quick sanding with some gritty sandpaper. I'm going to apply a decoupage medium to the area I want to work with first. Now to start applying the decoupage paper. I want to dampen the paper with a wet paper towel. With everything done and dry, the last thing I want to do is cover up all those little paper bits on the underside of the lamp. To start this project, I want to remove everything but the main section of this lamp. I'm going to add the glue to each of the joints and then leave it all to dry. I found these signs at the dollar store. I'm going to add a thinner wood round. A little wood glue will hold this into place perfectly. I'm going to find the middle and use the top of the lamp to trace a little circle. I'm ready to paint. I'm going to use the white chalky paint to cover both the base of the lamp and the wood. I want to attach the wood top to the lamp. The circle that I drew before is going to help me so that the lamp is correctly centered. Add some glue and then I can join them together and it'll be nice and solid.
I'm gonna rip down all the fabric off of my lampshade. So I'm gonna take it outside and give it a quick spray paint. And then after that, I decided I needed to spray paint one more thing, and that was a mason jar sealing part of the lid that I'm gonna use later on. I'm gonna take this wood slice, I'm gonna give this a good coat of sealer. I'm also gonna do like the live edges. And once that's all sealed, it's gonna be time to grab that mason jar lid and drill a tiny hole in the middle. And now it's time to assemble. I have some E6000 industrial glue that I'm putting in the little hole where like a finial for a lamp would go. And that's where I'm gonna kind of adhere that mason jar sealer. I'm going to put some more E6000 glue along the rim here. So I'll go ahead and set that down, got it in place, and now it's time to drill. It's all good, gonna flip it up.
Grab some hot glue and put a bead of glue along one side of your lampshade, and then add some twine or jute. And we're gonna wrap that around the lampshade until we cover the entire thing. After you have all your tassels made, we are gonna add these to the bottom of our lampshade. And I decided to hot glue these. You could use a needle and thread and tie them and sew them on the edge, but this worked out perfect. You are going to simply trim off the excess tails.
Set an edge of your lampshade against one edge of the wallpaper. Measure in 1/2 inch to 1 inch and mark it by running a pencil where the shade meets the paper. Spray the outside of the lampshade with spray adhesive. Roll the lampshade onto the wallpaper, pressing and smoothing as you go. Apply double-sided tape to the inside lip of the top and bottom of the lampshade. Wrap the overage border of the wallpaper over the edge of the shade and press onto the double stick tape. Take some more tape and apply it to the top and bottom of the lampshade. Take some ribbon in a coordinating color and press half of the width onto the double stick tape and secure on the inside of the shade. Do this for the top and bottom of the shade. Continue the lamp makeover by spray painting the base of your lamp.
Next time you're at the thrift store, pick yourself up a couple of lampshades. To begin my project, I just took apart the lampshade, so I just began with some scissors, cutting apart the fabric and ripping it off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this little knob back on. Then I'm going to go ahead here with a hot glue gun, just going to attach this faux moss onto the wired parts. I came in with these solar fairy lights and wrapped them all around my lampshade.
So to get started, I am going to take apart the lamp, and I'm just going to put some alcohol on the paper towel and wipe down my lamp base. I'm just giving a little light base coat to this. And then I have some all-in-one pre-mix stucco patch. And I'm just using an old chip brush, and I'm just going to coat the entire thing. While that's drying, I'm going to take that really kind of dingy, old-looking lampshade. I'm using some white chalk paint. That's water that you saw me mist on there, and it just makes the paint kind of flow and cover nicely. I'm going to let that dry. Then I'm actually going to do a second coat. I have a medium gray paint here, and I've also added a little water to it. I'm just going to take a regular paintbrush. So I'm just going to work on getting this whole lamp base covered in this. While that gray is still wet, I'm grabbing some mud by Dixie Belle. I put a glove on to put this part on. It's a lot like spackle. Let that dry for about an hour, and then grab a sanding block and get that all sanded smooth down. And then for even more dimension, I have white chalk paint and then a lighter gray little sea sponge here that I'm just getting kind of damp. And I've also misted my paint plate. Now I'm just gonna kind of dab around and keep working on this faux finish. And then after I do all that, now I have black and brown paint. Okay, so I'm watering down that paint a little bit, and a push pin. I'm using the tip, the little pin, to add some little dot. Lastly, just to seal in all this, I used a matte clear spray.
Picked up this thrifted lampshade that I got at my local thrift store. These embellishments that I found at my local fabric store. I began placing my lace appliques over the lampshade. I'm next going to bring in some spray adhesive, and I'm just going to spray the back of the lace applique, and then I'm going to lay it in place on my lampshade. Once my pieces were fully placed on, I came in with this So Soft fabric paint, just went very lightly over some of the edge detailing.
I grabbed some mirror paint and thrifted light fixtures. I added a splash of vinegar to a spray bottle with water and lightly sprayed the inside of the glass light fixture. Next, I sprayed the mirror paint on the inside and drained the extra water and paint out. I sprayed the light fixture base black. Once dry, I painted antique gold rub and buff on it, leaving some of the black showing. Once dry, I added battery fairy lights.
Head to the thrift store and pick up a set of matching glasses. I'm grabbing a block of candle wax. I'm going to take this all to the stove, let it melt completely. I'm going to set it aside and let it cool. I'm going to add wicks to these glasses. Now I can pour the wax into each candle, and I'm going to let this set for a full 24 hours. Grab a candlestick, grab yourself a little container, and pour in some Mod Podge. Then you're going to add a few drops of food coloring and just apply a coat over the entire outside of the candlestick. Now I'm going to add a little bit of blue and then make another candlestick. My glass is covered. Just set these aside for an hour or two.
Once your jar candle is almost used up, let the candle cool and then pop it into the freezer for at least 2 hours. Wedge the edge of the knife into the side of the remaining wax. Now soak the jar with some hot sudsy water and then wipe the inside of the jar with a cloth or sponge. If you have a jar candle with a lid, remove the candle wax in the same manner. Take the lid of the jar and place painter's tape around the side of the lid. Now, spray paint the top of the lid. Take a used wine cork and attach it to the top of the lid.
We're going to start today's DIY with a remote controlled light bulb. So we're going to take that little holster and we're going to glue that to the top with hot glue. And then we're going to put in our light bulb. We're going to take a clamp so that we can add that on top in order to hold your lampshade. Take that finial piece, screw that back on so it's nice and snug.
You want to make sure that you have a nice clean surface. Rubbing alcohol is a good option. You'll need some sort of stencil and line that up and then just press down firmly. And it's really important here that you maintain the best seal possible. You'll want to take some painter's tape and put it around the surrounding edges. Now that you have your stencil in place, it's time to apply the etching cream. I typically do about a 5-minute time to allow it to sit, and then we'll rinse it off.
Run it under a stream of warm water and just allow the cream to gently rinse off.
Once you have the etching cream all rinsed off, you can go ahead and remove the stencil and the tape. But we're going to take it one step further, and I'm going to be using this Rub and Buff product to add some color to it.
We are going to grab a couple glass mason jars. You're going to grab a small dish and you're going to fill it with clear glue and a little bit of water. I used about 2 tablespoons of glue and about 1 tablespoon of water. Then I'm going to drop in a little bit of food coloring. Then stir it up until it's mixed really well. Grab your mason jar, make sure it's nice and clean. Pour that dark blue mixture into the jar and swirl it around so it covers everything. Once you've swirled it all around, you can dump the excess back into the original container. Now we want to let this drip for a little bit. Let it drip for about 10 minutes. Take a paper towel, wipe off any excess drips that are around the rim of the jar. Then place this upside down on a piece of parchment paper. Pop it in your oven at 175 for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, take it out, turn it right side up, and let it cool completely.
I grabbed some thrifted glassware for this brilliant garden decor. Then I grabbed some 2-part epoxy. I used a wood skewer to mix the epoxy and placed it around the bottom edge of one glass vase, then glued it to the bottom of the glass bowl. I set that aside and let it dry. I applied epoxy to the bottom of a different glass vase and placed the glass platter on top in the center. I grabbed the vase with the bowl and applied epoxy to the top and attached the third vase upside down, and applied epoxy to the top of the vase that is attached to the bowl, and I placed the other section on top.
Pick up a thrift store frame and remove the backing. Find a white mat that will fit the frame size. Hang the frame and mat on a wall. Find a small glass jar or vase. Take 2 command strips and stick the jar to the wall. You now have a 3D interactive wall art piece.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 3 glass carafes. Take twine and wrap, tie, and secure around the glass, and clip parts of the plant off. Add water to the glass bottles and then add clippings to the water. Hang a curtain rod and add more twine or rope from the rod.
On one of my most recent trips to Dollar Tree, I came across these glass bowls, and as well I spotted these cool margarita glasses. I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to spread it around on the bottom of the margarita glass. And then I'm also going to apply some E6000 on the bottom of one of the glass bowls. Then I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to leave this to set. In the meantime, I'm going to take my second glass bowl and I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to take an old drawer pull and then place that on top.
First, we're going to spray paint. I'm using Rust-Oleum Satin Heirloom White and Rust-Oleum Stone. We're going to take some painter's tape. You kind of want to rough tear one edge of it. We're going to put this along the bottom. I'm using a craft paint and I'm just using brushed gold. You kind of want to make it look like the paint is kind of tearing and you can see underneath it.
Saw some candles from Pottery Barn. I thought it'd be fun to try making them myself. I'm going to put a little glue into a small container and then add a bit of paint. Now that I have the glue tinted, I'm going to paint it all over the glass dish on the outside. I'm going to leave these for a few hours before moving on. Using some Mod Podge, I'm going to paint it around the dishes. I can sprinkle the white glitter all over it, and then when it dries, the glitter will stay in place. I grabbed these pillar candles from the dollar store and I'm going to melt them down. I'm just going to use a couple of skewers to hold the wicks in place. I want to add some essential oil to give my candles a beautiful scent. It's time to fill the glass dishes. The final thing to do is to remove the skewers and then trim the wicks.
So I've come back from the thrift store with a few items and now I'm going to clean them up. For this first one, I'm going to be using Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint, and I've got a stencil brush here. Dip it into the paint, but then I'm going to offload a little bit of it here. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue around. I'm going to let them dry completely before the next step with these. For this next one, we're going to be using Pledge Floor Care Cleaner. Pour some of the Pledge Floor Cleaner into the glass base. Swirl the glass carefully so that it's all coated. I'm just going to use some snowy glitter and I'm going to dump a healthy amount in here. Now we start swirling all the way around. And I let it dry completely. Next, I'm going to use some green glitter. Same process, and I'm going to be using Folk Art enamel paint in the color Wicker White. For this last one, I'm going to leave them plain. So we're going to start with the cup, and I'm going to choose to have it go up and upside down. One is super glue, and put it on the edge all the way around. You place it on top. So I'm going to let this one dry, and we'll start adhering the other ones.
Grab some pegboard hooks and shelves from your local dollar store and buy some inexpensive pegboards. Do you have leftover peel and stick wallpaper? Lay your wallpaper face down on a table and position the pegboards on the paper with a few inches of space between each pegboard. Outline each pegboard with a pencil and cut out each piece of wallpaper, including an additional inch outside the outline. Cut out the corners of the wallpaper, peel the backing off the wallpaper, and lay the pegboard face down on the sticky side of the paper. Press down firmly, wrap the outer edges of the wallpaper up and over the side edges of the pegboard. Take a screwdriver, pencil, or other poker-type object and poke holes through the wallpaper and into the pegboard holes. Hang the pegboard with the hardware provided so it is secure on the wall. Line up with the wallpaper pattern on your wall with the covered pegboard. Insert the pegboard hooks into the wallpapered pegboard to hold your keys.
I hit the hardware store and picked up some 2x2s and some 3/4 inch plywood. I measured and cut the 2x2s to the height of the headboard that I ultimately wanted to have. Once my frame was built, I added my plywood pieces on top. I screwed these pieces of wood into place. My next step was to cover it the way I wanted it to look. My solution was actually to purchase a 5x7 foot jute rug online. The price of this rug was only $62. Placed the rug around it and started to staple it into place.
I'm going to give the surface of the cabinet a quick sanding. I'm going to paint the cabinet with some creamy white chalk paint. I'm going to brush on a layer of decoupage glue and then lay on my paper. So I'm going to use my hands to flatten it out. I want to slice off the rest of the paper and want to give it one final coat of the decoupage glue. I can use a sanding block to gently take off any excess. I want to also remove the paper from those. I'm going to finish it all off with a coat of wax.
I wanted to create a dimensional wood wall. I decided to use wood shims. I stained the wood shims using a water-based stain. I stained the shims in varying degrees, some with just one light coat and others with up to 7 coats to make them nice and dark. I started attaching the stained wood shims to the wall using construction adhesive. I found it best to first place the long pieces in a random pattern on the wall and then overlay these with the shorter pieces. This way, I was building up the wall dimensionally as well as varying the color throughout. There were some gaps between the pieces, and so I had to cover these with smaller pieces at the end. When it came to the light switch on the wall, I just worked right up to the switch.
I am going to show you how to make 3 high-end looking headboards using supplies from Dollar Tree. You're going to start by flipping it over so the white side is facing down. On the back, I am using 2 paint sticks and I'm going to hot glue them over the creases. I grabbed a really lightweight towel. So I've ironed out all the creases, laying it flat on my table, and I'm going to put the piece of cardboard over the top and then just fold it around the sides and hot glue it in place. This is a really beautiful kind of beachy look. This next headboard uses peel and stick wallpaper tiles from Dollar Tree. And I laid them all out again on that trifold board, made sure that the patterns matched up. To finish off the edges, I am just folding that wallpaper over, hang these up on a wall with some command strips, and you've got a really stunning kind of modern looking headboard. Dollar Tree has these rolls of shelf liner. So starting with a trifold board as a base, I am just going to unroll onto the cardboard. I want to line up all these flowers so it looks like one continuous piece. For the back of this one, I am going to fold the remaining adhesive over the back so the edges look nice and finished. This is really easy to hang with command strips on a wall.
Take shaving cream and spray it all around the bathtub. Take a rubber or regular broom and scrub the bathtub thoroughly until it's clean. Then rinse off with water. Take the shaving cream and spray the toilet brush to clean it. Spray it on and let it sit for a while. When it's complete, the shaving cream and the residue will be gone. Take the shaving cream, spray it on a mirror, and use that and a microfiber towel or paper towels to wipe it down.
Dab Murphy oil on a cloth and clean your vehicle interior to give it that brand new look again. Dab some more on a cloth and clean all those fingerprints off your stainless steel appliances. Wipe clean with a dry cloth for a nice polished finish. Fill a bowl with warm water and pour Murphy oil into a separate bowl. Use a toothbrush or cleaning brush to clean your jewelry. Look at those diamonds sparkle. Use the same setup to clean your wicker baskets. I always do this with ones I get from the thrift store. It adds moisture to rejuvenate the wicker and smells great too. Dab Murphy oil on a clean cloth and wipe down your wood furniture. It cleans and polishes. Pour some Murphy oil into a mop bucket with hot water and clean your floors. This works great on real wood floors too.
Grab some vinegar. Fill a reusable jar full of vinegar. Cut some citrus and peel off the peel. Place the peels into the vinegar. You can add a variety of other herbs. Place the jar into the refrigerator. After a week, open up a spray bottle, strain out and discard the peels and the rosemary and the other herbs you're using. And use this mixture to clean your tables and other surfaces. Add 1 3/4 cups of water to a bowl. 1/4 cup of vinegar, 1/4 teaspoon of Dawn dish soap. Grab any old pitcher and place some paper towels into the pitcher. Take your mixture and pour it into the center of the paper towels. Let it sit, then remove the center paper towel piece. You've now created disposable cleaning wipes. Wipe up your table and discard the paper towel. Keep the lid on to keep them from drying out. Add 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 cup of rubbing alcohol, add a few drops of Dawn dish soap. Mix all of these ingredients together and pour the mixture into the spray bottle. Grab whatever steam mop you have. Fill it up with distilled water. Grab a reusable microfiber cloth. Wring out all of the excess water and make sure to wring it out well. And clip it into place on your steam mop. Once the steam mop is ready, you can use the reusable mop pad to clean your floor. You can spot treat with the mixture that you made by spraying it onto sticky residue, mud, dirt, any grease and grime. Once you are done, remove the pad, throw it in the laundry, and it's ready to reuse next time.
I used a funnel and I poured half a cup of white vinegar, 1/4 a cup of coconut oil, or you can use olive oil, half a teaspoon of dish soap, and then 30 drops of fragrance or essential oils. After that, I replaced the spray nozzle on top and now it's ready to go. I used a microfiber cloth to apply apply the cleaner with. To use this leather cleaner, you're going to want to test out an inconspicuous spot on your couch first to make sure it works. I use my do-it-yourself leather cleaner to clean my entire vintage leather sofa.